A middle-aged man hears crows cawing. He looks up and sees several crows pecking at human corpses. Agitated, he kicks the iron gate in front of him. The impact shakes a drop of blood loose, and it falls directly into his eye. Realizing he might be infected, he urgently warns his daughter to stay away from him. As she moves closer, he uses his last bit of rationality to push her away. He then completely transforms into a rabid, bloodthirsty zombie and attacks her. This terrifying virus, named Rage, originated from the Cambridge Primate Research Institute. Researchers, testing its effects, bought many chimpanzees as test subjects and showed them violent videos. This news was discovered by an animal protection group. That night, 3 members of the group sneak into the laboratory to rescue the poor chimps. They are discovered by a lab worker still on duty. As the 3 aggressively surround him, the worker urgently explains that the chimps are infected with a virus. Their saliva and blood are highly contagious, and they are extremely aggressive. Releasing them would be disastrous. The group refuses to listen and opens the cage doors. The first thing the freed chimp does is grab the woman and viciously bite her. Her 2 companions quickly intervene and kill the chimp. Within mere seconds, the woman begins coughing up blood and turns into a bloodthirsty zombie with red eyes. Her 2 companions and the unlucky lab worker are also bitten and infected. 28 days later, the zombie virus has spread globally. 99% of humanity has died. Once bustling cities are now eerily silent and still. The protagonist, Jim, was fortunate. 28 days ago, he was hospitalized in a special care unit after a car accident. He regains consciousness after a 28-day coma. He finds no nurses around. Pulling back the curtains, he sees the corridors littered with scattered, messy items as if looted. Jim, confused, walks to the hospital lobby, also empty. Baffled, Jim picks up a few cans of Coke from the floor and walks out of the hospital in his patient gown. The streets are equally deserted, filled with overturned cars and abandoned luggage. Newspapers on the ground have headlines like, "Britons flee, causing global chaos." It looks like the apocalypse. Jim, refusing to believe it, heads towards a church and finally finds the missing people. Now countless decaying corpses lying in the hall. Terrified, Jim tries to leave, but a zombie priest blocks the exit. Jim asks, "Are you okay?" His running wakes several zombies hiding in the pile of bodies. Jim has no choice but to sprint onto the street, with several enraged zombies chasing him. These zombies are incredibly fast and are about to catch the exhausted Jim. 2 survivors throw Molotov cocktails at the zombies, setting them on fire. They then ignite fuel from a gas station, cutting off the pursuit. They take Jim to a convenience store. The 2 survivors, a man and a woman, are named Mark and Selena. Jim introduces himself as a courier who was in a car accident, hospitalized, and woke up to find the world had ended. Selena briefly describes the zombie virus outbreak. Government organizations have collapsed, most people are dead, and Jim is the only living person they've seen in days. Worried about his family, Jim insists on going home. Mark warns him not to go out at night when zombies are more active. They agree to accompany him first thing in the morning. After a nervous night, the 3 set out at dawn and reach Jim's house. Before even reaching the bedroom, Jim smells a pungent odor and quickens his pace. He pushes the door open to find his parents have taken sleeping pills to end their lives, clutching a childhood photo of Jim. To comfort the distraught Jim, Mark shares his own story. When the virus broke out, he quickly took his family to the train station to escape, but it was already chaotic and crowded, with infected individuals mixed in, biting people. Mark's family was scattered in the panic. When he found them again, they had all turned into zombies. As dusk falls, for safety, they decide to stay at Jim's house and leave in the morning. Grieving, Jim can't sleep and plays an old home video. The sound attracts zombies from the street. Fortunately, Mark and Selena are alert and rush in with machetes. They manage to kill 2 zombies, but Mark is bitten on the arm. Selena immediately executes Mark before he can turn. Soon after, Selena and Jim pack their bags and head onto the streets. By evening, they see lights in a distant building. To see if there are survivors, they enter the building. Jim, weakened from his long hospital stay, is out of breath halfway up the stairs. Selena stops, giving him a Coke to regain strength. Suddenly, 2 zombies appear downstairs, smell them, and swiftly give chase up the stairs. Selena can't wait for Jim and sprints ahead. The exhausted Jim struggles to keep up, calling for Selena to wait. Suddenly, a fully armed man with a riot shield blocks the stairwell on the 15th floor, directing them to room 157 at the end of the hall. He single-handedly holds off the zombies, efficiently dispatching them, then calmly returns to the room. He introduces himself as Frank. After the disaster, he didn't follow the crowds to the stations but hid in this apartment with his daughter, Hannah. With the area mostly empty, it's relatively safe. The main problem is the lack of running water. Frank has collected pots and pans on the roof for rainwater, but it hasn't rained for weeks. Staying is no longer feasible. Frank plays a radio broadcast looping a message about a military-established aid station in Manchester. Frank wants to take Hannah there but fears they need more people, hence the light signal to gather survivors. The military aid station is a far more attractive prospect. After discussion, the 4 set off in Frank's car towards Manchester. Hours later, they encounter a tunnel clogged with wrecked cars. Frank floors it, driving over the wrecks to get through, but a tire is destroyed. As they use a jack to change the tire, a horde of rats swarms out from the shadows, startling Hannah. The alert Selena senses something wrong and glances towards the tunnel entrance, spotting a horde of zombies. She realizes the rats are fleeing the zombies. There's no time for the jack. 3 of them lift the car while Hannah quickly changes the tire. They speed away just as the zombie horde reaches them. Shortly after exiting the tunnel, they find an unloaded supermarket full of goods. They enthusiastically grab shopping carts. A few kilometers later, Frank finds a fuel tanker and stops to check it. Jim goes to a fast food joint nearby looking for burgers, but a teenage zombie charges from the kitchen. Jim, having grown from his experiences, stays calm, kicks the zombie down, and beats it with a baseball bat until it stops moving. Frank refuels the car, and they continue their journey. The rest of the trip is smooth. They take country roads, avoiding wreckage and hordes, enjoying green pastures and galloping horses. They decide to stay the night on a farm. Perhaps seeing hope for the future, Selena and Jim's relationship advances quickly. She kisses him. The next day, they continue with hope. But reality is often harsher. As they near Manchester, they see thick smoke and a city on fire. Frank drives into the military's cordoned area but finds no soldiers. Realizing the aid station has fallen, he sits down, frustrated, and hears crows. He looks up to see them pecking at a human corpse. Angry, Frank kicks a nearby iron gate. A drop of blood is shaken loose and lands directly in his eye. Realizing he will turn soon, Frank urgently warns Hannah not to come near. But concerned for her father, she approaches. Frank pushes her away, clutching his face in agony. Within 20 seconds, Frank transforms from a loving father into a bloodthirsty zombie. Soldiers on patrol hear the commotion and arrive. They take the group back to their survivor base, a wealthy person's estate converted by the soldiers. There are only 9 soldiers, including their leader, Major Henry. Henry welcomes them, saying there's plenty of food and water. Henry has ambitions. Recently, one of his soldiers was infected. Instead of killing him, Henry chained him in the backyard as a specimen for future study. That evening, Henry hosts a feast. Mid-meal, alarms blare outside. Everyone grabs weapons and rushes out to see a zombie horde approaching. They open fire. Between gunfire and mines, the zombies are eliminated. The soldiers return. One soldier starts harassing Selena. Jim fights back but is quickly overpowered. A soldier named Farrell intervenes and whips the offending soldier. Major Henry arrives but doesn't punish the soldier, just disperses the group. He takes Jim to his office and reveals the truth. The radio broadcasts were to find women for his men. Realizing they've been tricked, Jim returns to the room to get Hannah and Selena to escape, but the soldiers are waiting. They are overpowered. Jim sees Farrell try to defend them, but he is outnumbered and captured. The next day, Jim and Farrell are taken to the woods for execution. To save bullets, they plan to use bayonets. A nervous soldier accidentally discharges his weapon, killing Farrell and wounding his comrade. Seizing the moment, Jim feigns death, hides among bodies, then slips away, climbing over a wall. The soldiers search, find his jacket on the wall, and assume the unarmed Jim couldn't survive, so they return. Having dealt with opposition, Henry has his men make Selena and Hannah change into dresses. Selena resists, then pretends to comply but asks the soldiers to wait outside. As they leave, Selena finds pills, planning for her and Hannah to commit suicide. Before they can take them, the soldiers burst back in. As they struggle, the alarm sounds again. It's Jim returned. He triggered the alarm to attract zombies. An enraged Henry takes a soldier to investigate. Finding Jim hiding, Henry searches, but Jim doubles back, kills the soldier left in the car, and disables the vehicle. When Henry returns, he finds his soldier dead and zombies approaching. He runs back to the base. Meanwhile, the remaining soldiers have forced the girls into new clothes. Unaware, Jim has infiltrated the base. He uses his last bullet to shoot the chain holding the captive zombie soldier, freeing it. The freed zombie heads to the living room, attacking the soldiers. Selena and Hannah use the chaos to try to escape. The soldiers, distracted, are picked off by the zombie. Soon, more zombies fill the house. The youngest soldier tries to flee but is ambushed and stabbed by Jim waiting outside. When Major Henry returns, his men are all gone. Jim moves through the rooms, finding the soldier holding Selena. Jim tackles the soldier, smashes his head against the wall, and gouges his eyes out, killing him. The three reunite and run for a car to escape. But Major Henry is already inside, waiting. He shoots Jim and Selena as they open the door. Hannah reacts quickly, jumps into the driver's seat, and reverses towards the zombie horde. The zombies break the rear window and drag Henry out. Hannah drives back, picks up the wounded Jim and Selena, and they flee. Another 28 days later, the three have found a peaceful place to recover. Jim has healed from his wounds. They use bed sheets to spell out "hello" on the ground. A military jet flies overhead. They wave frantically at the plane. Whether what awaits them is human kindness or cruelty remains unknown. It's fascinating to note that 28 Days Later almost had a very different ending. Director Danny Boyle and writer Alex Garland initially shot several alternate versions where Jim dies, either on the operating table or by sacrificing himself in a discarded storyline. However, the chosen ending with Jim, Selena, and Hannah surviving and spelling out "hello" is ultimately the most powerful. It works because it's not just about survival. It's a profound conclusion to the film's core theme. Jim's symbolic death and rebirth represent the reclamation of his humanity after descending into brutal violence. This finale transforms the film from a great zombie thriller into a deeper allegory about the resilience of the human spirit, arguing that even in the darkest times, hope and our humanity are worth fighting for.